All right, Wayne Bettis here, the founder of the Off the Tools podcast. I just want to introduce you to our brand new sponsor, directplumbing.supplies.com. It is founded by a former tradesman who has set up his own plumbing and heating merchants. He has an online shop, which is obviously at directplumbing.supplies.com, and he delivers across the UK. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Hello, Facebook, or the podcast, wherever you're listening. If you can hear cars going past, I'm just going for a walk. Been stuck in the office for the whole morning, so I just wanted to get out, spread my legs, and I'm just walking down a long way, staying to fire runner. So I've jumped on. To the Profit Killer. It's a report that that with everything that's going on in the world and in the news, I rewrote it last month so to reflect modern times. And I titled it The Profit Killer because, in essence, that's what has happened. Okay, there's been a stealth, hidden entity that has killed off the profit. And what that stealth hidden thief is the fiat money system. So the money system as we know it, we have to have inflation because it's what makes the oils the machine. Without inflation, there's no new money, which means there's no currency flowing. Anyway, it's not about that. In the system that we live in, which is a fiat money system, you have to have inflation. And what's happening right now is, I would say, is hyperinflation. We're on track to hit like 9% or something stupid this year. So the report that I've actually written is quite conservative. I could have easily included this year's proposals figures, and it would have skyrocketed the numbers, but I chose not to because I didn't want to be alarmist. I just want it to be really, just informative. I didn't want it to be like a scare piece. I wanted it to just be informative and hopefully wake up a few people to a few things that maybe they didn't know or maybe they've neglected. So if you haven't read it, please drop me a message and I'll happily send you a copy completely free. 6, 7, 8 page, something like that, I can't remember. Report on, in essence, it's on inflation. So what I've done is I did some research. Sorry about the background noise. There's lots of cars going past me where I'm walking. So in essence, it's a report on when I started in this industry, which was back in 2002. I feel old saying that, Jesus, 20 years, till now, 2023. And like I said, I haven't included this year's proposed figures, so it is a lot worse than currently right now. It's a lot worse than what my report sets out. But what I wanted to do was highlight the inconsistency in the way we charge our customers. So in the report, you see some figures about some basic jobs, about where we were charging back in 20 years ago and where we're charging now or where we should be. And for a lot of people, they're a hell of a lot of money worse off. And unfortunately, it's the profit that takes a hit. So running a business to make a wage is it's a bit silly, really, because you could just get a job and have an easy life and work your hours and clock off and whatever. We're in business to make profit. That's what I think the definition of running a business is, to do something that creates profit. I've summarised that, but in essence, that is, the point of business, always to do good if you're a non-profit or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. Profit is fundamentally what we're all after. And if we don't, so in the report, all I factored in is the official, so I haven't speculated, the official inflation figures over the past 20 years. That's not factoring in. So I haven't factored in things like the rise in national insurance, the rise in corporation tax, the rise in income tax, the rise on VAT. All of these things. And then there's so much more, because inflation sometimes isn't actually a true representation, because other things go up. You've only got to look at the price of wood, for example, right now. That's not going to be reflected in the official inflation. But for us in the trades, it's a direct hit. And you could look at multiple things: the price of metal, the price of electrical components. So this report is very, very conservative. So I might make a version 2 that's a little bit more speculative and maybe a little bit more fear-gathering, because it looks like I've had nearly 100 people download it, which is fantastic. And so far, I haven't seen much action. I've had 1 or 2 people reach out and be like, wow, yeah, I need to up my prices. I'm going to try it, blah, blah, blah. But it hasn't really created the buzz that I thought it would, because I thought when I wrote it and reread it, I thought, shit, man, this is going to wake up people. So maybe I wasn't scareful enough. But hey, it is what it is. It's still hopefully helping people, because that's why I like it. I thought that was a nice motorbike. Where was I going with that? So basically, if you want a synopsis of what the report is, basically it's highlighting where we were 20 years ago to where we should be now, and that's the minimum we should be now. So if you read the report and you're nowhere near them figures, you need to start edging up. What I'm sort of really, really trying to, sometimes you can't undo the past, okay? We can only change what happens in the future. So, like, the call to arms, so to speak, of the article is, at the very least, promise to raise your prices going forward in line with the official inflation. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not expecting people to have to bank 80% on their prices. Okay? I'm realistic. I know the market. I know people can't do that because you price yourself out. But what you can do, if everybody comes together and raises our prices in line with inflation in the same way every other industry does. You look at Sky TV, you look at boiler manufacturers, you look at plumbing merchants. Every year you get a 2 to 5% increase. And guess what? We just accept it, don't we, as the consumer, right? Your customers will just accept it too. Okay, there's nothing to be scared. Sort of 3 or 4 tips on what you can do to raise. There's just one little thing that you take away from that report is to just raise your prices in line with inflation. That's all you've got to do to stay current, maintain a decent profit margin in your business, as long as you're doing all right in the meantime. It's not going to fix problems that the business has got. But yeah, that's really, really my message there, is raise it with inflation at the very, very least. Because otherwise you're actually working for less each year. So do you want to earn less money or more money? Obviously the answer is you want to earn more money. So make sure you do that. Hopefully it inspires a few of you guys to actually take action and do it. And there, in the report, there's a little tip that says when should you do it? And the best time to raise your prices in line with inflation is when it's being talked about in the news. So you can basically blame it on the government. Yeah, you can send out an email to your customers saying that on the April the 1st, blah, 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 you're raising your prices by 8%, 4%, whatever inflation ends up being, and word it in line with the government's inflation rate. Point the blame at the government, because they're the ones that dictate inflation through their policies. Stuff is all beyond our control. We can't affect inflation, okay? But what we can do is just react to it. And I find that if you do it when it's a hot topic, so right now, coming towards the end of a tax year, the words inflation is being bandied around loads. So there's no better time. I've just walked up a hill, so I'm out of breath. There's no better time than now to do that, okay? So if there's one thing I can I can get you guys to do is to do that as a minimum. Obviously, longer term, you need to be doing things like checking your costs and making sure that you're actually running the business correctly. But that's a whole different topic. The point of today was to talk about the report that I wrote and to try and encourage you all to use inflation every single year as the minimum. Here I'm saying the minimum again, to raise them prices. So I'm going to leave it at that and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my walk. But yeah, hopefully there's some takeaways there. Have a good one, guys. See you later.
I really hope you enjoyed the show. I just wanted to pull it out there for anyone listening that I offer business coaching, but also life coaching. My life is centered around something called the 3 Bs, which stands for body, business, and balance. When you work with me as a coach, we tackle all 3 aspects of life. So you as an individual, body, mindset, health, fitness, knowledge, education. Business B obviously stands for your business, improving, maximizing opportunities, elevating, making more money. And balance stands for your friends, family, loved ones, making time for everything in your life. And the 3 Bs is the core element to that. If you'd like to learn more, I would ask you to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you might be consuming my information. Or you can email me directly at wayne@offthetools.co.uk. I'm here waiting to assist you to elevate across all aspects of life. Have a good one. No excuses. Let's go.